Takuto was a boy with a sickness that could not be cured. Takuto mostly played a strategy game called Eternal Nations. One day, after finishing everything and starting the game again, he died quietly. He felt darkness, and when he opened his eyes, he found himself sitting on a stone chair in the middle of a forest. He did not understand what was happening. Then, a familiar person appeared in front of him. Takuto quickly recognized this woman as Atu, the Sludge Witch, who was his favorite character in Eternal Nations. Takuto remembered that he had chosen the Kingdom of Ruin and Evil at the start to play Eternal Nations on the hardest level. Atu was with him, and at first she was very weak, but she became the strongest by taking the skills of the enemy she defeated. Atu called Takuto her king, and he thought maybe this was a roleplay situation that he had to go along with. But Atu told him that he did not need to think so much, because she already knew everything. She knew his name, and she knew that he had never touched grass in his life. She also knew he was the best of the best players, who finished the game with the hardest civilization on the hardest nightmare difficulty. Takuto was surprised to hear that Atu knew he was a player and she was a character in the game. Atu told him she remembered all their games. Takuto asked her if this was heaven and if she was the one who brought him there, but Atu told him she was also called to that place. She felt the place was like the world of Eternal Nations. Then she quickly got down on her knees in front of Takuto and took his hand, saying that since they were together, it did not matter what kind of place this was. Atu said they should team up again and build a new civilization just for themselves. She pulled him off the throne and said they had already conquered the world many times, so he should see this as a chance for a new start. Takuto liked this idea and told Atu to serve him so they could make a great civilization, and Atu agreed happily. Then she showed herself as a strong witch and made a loyalty vow to him, but after that, both of them felt embarrassed by their words. Then Takuto asked Atu what the first thing to do in Minogur was, and Atu agreed that they would both stay hidden and keep their presence secret from the rest of the world. After that, Takuto used his emergency skill to make a big bug so he could look around the area. He and Atu talked about how hiding from other players at the start was one of their main rules, and these scouts helped get information without showing themselves. Takuto ordered the bug to collect information from around them, and it quickly went to do its job. Atu was surprised because she did not expect everything to be so easy in this new and strange world. Takuto told her he could share the bug's vision, just like in the game. He said he used half his mana to make the scout, and now the best thing to do was to make a starting village for them both. He wished he had enough mana to make a fighter for protection, but it was not possible yet. Atu was disappointed to hear this because she was very weak at that time and could not even protect herself, let alone Takuto. Takuto kept scouting through the bug's eyes and said there was nothing but forest here. Atu was sad that she could not help him yet, but Takuto told her that just being there was enough for him, and Atu felt happy to hear that. At the same time, the bug reached a group of poor and tired dark elves. Atu said this was good news for them because dark elves were a neutral race, even if they leaned a bit toward neutral evil, and their state was probably neutral evil too. This news made Takuto worried, and he started thinking if this was really the world of Eternal Nations. He thought if there was another civilization nearby, their state would be destroyed for sure. But Atu told him if there was any danger, they would leave together. Takuto said Atu was right, and he decided to keep watching the Dark Elves and keep scouting the area. While they were shouting and celebrating, a group of them suddenly arrived there. They were surprised to see Takuto and Atu decided if her master was in danger, she would protect him. It turned out the leader of the Dark Elves, Gia, had gone to find food for her people because they were so tired and hungry they could not even walk. Her helper told her they should not come to this forest because the story was there was something very dangerous locked here, but Gia said she could not turn back because her people needed her. With this thought, she came in front of Atu and Takuto, and they looked very dangerous to her. She could only see a black shadow in Takuto's place, and she became more sure the stories about this place were not wrong. She thought if she made a mistake here, her whole tribe could be killed, so she quickly got down on her knees in front of Takuto and introduced herself. Her people did the same, and then Gia apologized to Takuto for coming into his area. Atu said in a hard voice it was good they knew their place. Then she asked why the Dark Elves came here. Gia started a long story to get sympathy, but Atu told her to speak simply, which made her nervous. Then she quickly said her tribe was exiled by the council, and they were still being treated badly. Takuto asked her if they had faced big problems, so Gia stopped, nervous, but Atu told her to answer the king's question. Gia said their tribe was punished for no reason, and they had to come to these cursed lands to protect themselves. Then she said their food ran out a week ago, and they could not find any food here, so her people were hungry. Gia also thought her tribe just wanted to live in peace, and she worried Takuto might also treat them badly. But Takuto threw some apples to her and told her to eat them because they were tasty. Gia had never seen apples before, so she was unsure, but her people did not wait and ate the apples, saying they were sweet. Then Takuto made some pears, and Gia was completely shocked. Atu asked her why she was not eating the fruit her master gave her. The dark elf quickly bowed to Takuto and said there were more people in her tribe who were hungry. She wanted to feed them first, especially the children, and then eat herself. Takuto felt sorry for her and started making a lot of food, which worried Atu and shocked Gia. Dark elves like her were always treated differently because people thought they were from the dark side, and no one had helped them before. Gia asked Takuto who he really was, but Takuto just told her to take the food to her people. Gia and her group took the food back to their camp, and finally everyone ate until they were full. But Gia did not tell the other elves where she got the food. At night, when she was sitting alone near the camp, the elder of the tribe came. He said the fruit Gia brought was something he had never seen in his long life, and it tasted better than any other fruit. He asked Gia where she got the fruit, so Gia told him about her meeting with the legendary evil being. The elder was shocked to hear this, because Gia had seen the same king of ruin that was written about in the old books. He said those books said when the world became too full, the king of ruin appeared and destroyed the world so it could start again. Gia thought Takuto's words and presence matched the king of ruin, but the truth was, he did not really understand anything Takuto said, and he only followed the signs he got from Atu's behavior. The elder did not believe this part yet, but he asked Gia if she gave Takuto anything in return for the food. Gia said she did not give anything back. The elder said no evil being showed mercy without getting something in return. Gia said Takuto was kind and felt sorry for his people, and this made the elder angry. He asked Gia how he could talk about an evil being with so much respect, but after arguing, he accepted Gia did his best and brought food for his people. Then, the elder Moltar announced that, as the oldest dark elf, he would talk to the Dark King, and maybe their tribe would finally get the peaceful life they always wanted. On the other side, Atu scolded Takuto for using his mana to make food for the elves when he did not have much mana. But as soon as Takuto told her not to be mad because he needed her, Atu started acting obsessed with him again. The next day, Gia got ready to go to Takuto again, and the elder Moltar asked her if she was ready to face the king. Moltar thought since they already took charity from the Dark King, they should be ready for the price he would ask in return. Gia said Takuto did not say anything like that, but Moltar said evil beings always asked for something even after doing good. Still, he accepted they had to depend on Takuto to stay alive because there was no other safe place for them. Then Moltar and Gia decided to go together to meet Takuto, and they did not know Takuto's bug scout was always watching them. Takuto quickly called the bug back and got its report, and when he learned the elves were coming, he just wanted them to take yesterday's leftover food and leave quietly. He said he got nervous and could not talk well, so he did not know how to speak with the dark elves. Atu told him she would talk for him, and this way the dark elves would also understand that their king did not even talk to people like them himself. After a while, Moltar and Gia arrived. The old elf gave Takuto a greeting and thanked him for giving food to his people. Then he asked what was the name of the person helping them. With Takuto's permission, Atu told them his name and called him the King of Ruin. Both dark elves were shocked to hear this, and their fear became true. Then Atu told them to take the food and leave because it would not last long. Moltar said he wanted to pay back Takuto's kindness and asked what they could give in return. Atu looked at him hard and asked if he was planning something. Moltar became nervous, and Takuto understood the talk was going badly. Takuto quickly called Atu so he could talk about the plan, and Atu became angry because Takuto wanted to be too soft. She said these two losers did not even know how to talk, and at this speed, they would just get in her way. She suggested they should kill them all and put their heads on pillars around their base, but Takuto told her not to act like that Austrian painter. He said the elves just wanted to live peacefully with him, and that was why they also wanted to pay him back. He suggested that instead of giving them food for free, they should take some payment from them that they could do, so relations with the elves would stay good. Atu could not disagree with this, and she told the elves that her king had decided to accept their offer. When they saw Moltar's face become calm, Takuto and Atu understood he was so nervous because he thought Takuto was a normal evil being. At that moment, Takuto had an idea and told Atu to ask the elves about the outside world. Moltar was very happy to hear this and promised he would tell in detail everything he saw and heard in the outside world. Atu said after telling this, he would have to leave the forest with his tribe right away, and this surprised both Gia and Moltar. Gia wanted to argue, but Moltar told her to be quiet and said they had to follow the king's order. When they started to leave, Takuto felt bad about kicking them out. Then he had an idea and told Moltar and Gia to become his citizens. Both of them were surprised to hear this, but Atu was even more surprised and asked Takuto what he was doing. Takuto reminded her of the game's refugee system, where they could make different races their citizens. He said since dark elves were a neutral race, they would fit well with the state's evil attribute. Takuto reminded her that their main race was homunculi, who were like humans but had ugly faces, and they could not live with them all the time. Atu quickly agreed as soon as she remembered how homunculi looked. Then she turned to the elves and said Takuto would soon build a state here, and if they swore to serve serve him, he was ready to accept them as his citizens. Moltar was shocked to hear this and asked Atu what would happen if they became her citizens. Atu said clearly that they would become evil beings, but she said being evil was not as bad as they thought. Soon after, Takuto and Atu went to the Dark Elves' village, where everyone was ready to welcome them. Everyone was scared of him, and some weak people fainted just by looking at him. Takuto took his throne with Atu, and Atu told the Dark Elves they were now going to become citizens of their state, Manogra. She asked Takuto one last time if he really trusted this, and as soon as he allowed it, the elves joined his state. Atu congratulated them and said now their survival and protection was the duty of their new king. The two normal elves with them became scared seeing their condition. Seeing everyone in pain, Takuto asked if they were okay, and Gia cried that now someone cared about her and her people. The Dark Elves started shouting for Takuto with tears, and Takuto slowly started to feel pressure from the situation. A few days later, Moltar gave Takuto the map of the continent, and he became worried as soon as he saw it. Atu asked what happened, so he told her to look at the map and understand how bad their starting place was. They were on a continent where there were already two very big and powerful civilizations. Atu became worried, thinking if they found their state, they would destroy them right away. Atu also became nervous with Takuto, but then Takuto calmed himself and said as long as they were not found, they could become strong. Soon after, the Dark Elves came to meet them again, and this time Gia brought her helper, Emle. She told Takuto that Emle was smart and knew a lot about other states, so she could help them the most. Atu told them the king was happy with their hard work, and then announced they would now handle important jobs, because that was what Takuto wanted. First, Atu gave Moltar the job of handling inside matters of the state, and said she expected a lot from him because she learned he also knew magic. Then she made Gia the head warrior of Manogra and ordered her to make a strong army so they could protect themselves. She also gave her the full job of finding and training soldiers for the army. Gia said with excitement that she would kill enemies and show their heads as a sign, but Takuto did not like this. He said war was cruel, so Atu told the confused Gia that their king liked peace, so she should remember that. Gia was even more surprised to hear why the king of Ruin would like peace. Atu asked Takuto if they should give them the job of collecting resources, so Takuto said they should be given the job of making the land better and building some houses. Atu quickly ordered Moltar to collect enough wood for houses, but to keep most of the forest as it was. Moltar said he would start right away because Dark Elves were forest people. Then Takuto told them to plant trees again where they cut them. The elves were confused by this word because they had never heard this term. Takuto understood their civilization might not be advanced enough to get this right away, so he asked if they knew about military magic or the 6 main elements. Moltar said he only knew 4 main elements, and Enli said she never heard of any state using military magic. Takuto and Atu understood this world was more primitive than they thought, but this was also good for them because when they developed their magic technology, they could get ahead of other states quickly. Then Atu explained that replanting meant when trees were cut, new trees were grown in their place. The Dark Elves said they did this, but they could not grow them fast with magic. Atu said that in replanting, trees were grown quickly using the 6 main elements, and she gave Takuto the credit for this. Then she praised Takuto for making the special fruit they ate before, and also said she really liked grapes. Emil agreed with Atu and said she planted grape seeds and some plants had started to grow. This was surprising for Takuto because he did not think anything could grow here. Then he quickly understood that if he could make earth fruits here with magic, maybe he could make other things too. To test this, he made a coin and understood he could also make gunpowder and other science things. This way, he could make his civilization grow much faster than other states. On the other side, things were also changing in the Holy Empire Qualia. Saintess Solina went with some knights to the snowy mountainside to deal with monsters that were a danger to the nearby villages. As soon as she saw goblins running at her, she pointed her staff at them and burned them to ash with her holy fire. After killing the monsters, the holy fire disappeared into the clouds, and then when sunlight touched the burned ground, flowers grew there. The captain of the knights told his men that Solina's power burned evil monsters and made flower beds in their place, and that was why their relations with the elves were good. After that, Solina told the cardinal to send paladins to the south because she recently got a sign that something very bad was going to happen in the cursed forest. The cardinal refused and said the cursed forest was at the very end of the continent and he needed permission from above to send paladins there. Solina said if he could not send anyone, she would go there herself. At the same time, Takuto and Atu were busy developing their area and they started to build houses for the Dark Elves. Around Takuto's throne, a temporary throne room was also built, and he wanted to have meetings and discussions with the important citizens of his state. Then Moltar, Gia, and Emily arrived, and Atu told them to start their first council meeting right away. But before the meeting, Emily brought a gift for Takuto, which was a dress that made him look like a girl. Takuto was happy to get the dress because his clothes were getting dirty, and he thanked the elves. But the elves did not see any difference in his look, but they believed Atu when she said Takuto looked very good in that dress. Then Atu started the meeting, but Takuto was busy being a fan of his own look. Atu decided to continue the meeting without him and would ask for his opinion when needed, and Takuto was fine with this. As soon as the meeting started, Moltar asked Atu what buildings they should make first. Atu told Moltar they should start with food-making facilities. Then she took out a scary-looking plant and said this would be their main food source for now. The elves were scared to see it and asked Atu what it really was. Atu said it was a flesh plant, which was special for their civilization. She explained that this plant made meat that tasted like human meat and was very nutritious. The elves were shocked to hear this and said they did not eat humans, so Atu told them this was only for the start, and soon they would have other foods too. Then she said they would also have to build storage and management sheds with the fields, and Emil took this job for herself. After that, Atu started the next part of her agenda, which was research, because for small states, getting new technology was very important. Moltar asked what kind of technology they should focus on, so Atu said they would research magic technology. Takuto was very happy to hear this, and Moltar said as a magician, he would do his best to impress Takuto. Then he asked what kind of magic technology he should research, so Atu told him about military magic. She explained that normal attack magic could target a few people at a time, but new military magic could destroy whole cities and change the land's shape for their benefit. Then Atu moved to their military plan, and Gia became happy that it was her turn, but Takuto quickly said they would not spend much on the army yet. Atu also said keeping an army was expensive, and in peacetime it did not produce anything in return. Gia said right now, they did not have enough strength to protect their king, so the army should be the main focus. Moltar also said he and Gia were wanted as dark elf leaders, and their enemies could attack their state. Takuto understood their worry and decided instead he would make a hero to protect them. Atu also agreed and said making a hero was expensive, but it did not need care, so it was better for their current need. The elves did not know what a hero was, so Atu said heroes were very strong beings who worked directly under the king. She said there were different conditions to call different heroes, but she was sure they would call the first hero very soon, and Takuto became even more excited to hear this. Takuto thought in this world most things were done with mana, and a state could only collect mana from its own people. The happier the people were, the more mana was collected, and Takuto decided he would make his state the happiest place on this planet. In the Holy Empire Qualia, a junior paladin named Lonius was chosen for the research team being sent to the Cursed Forest. A senior paladin, Vardal, was with him, and to pass the time, Vardal kept annoying Lonius because Lonius was very serious and strict about rules. Vardal complained that the research team was too small, with only 2 paladins and some hired soldiers. He said the church should take Solina's prediction more seriously. Lonius agreed, but he knew they could not know what the higher-ups were thinking. He thought if they succeeded, they would get a big reward, but if they failed, he would be blamed. Back in Minogra, Takuto watched the progress of the civilization. He felt strange because he had seen the start of the civilization thousands of times on a screen, but this time, he was seeing it up close. Emily gave him a tour of the village and said the Dark Elves were good at building houses on trees, but the building speed was slow now because they were focusing more on flesh trees. The flesh trees were growing well, and storage and management places were also built. Emil said they found a freshwater spring nearby and were checking if they could get water from it. For magic research, Moltar and other magicians were working hard in the new research building. Takuto was happy to hear all this, and he also liked that the elves were finding water sources by themselves. He was also happy to see the elves, who looked very tired at first, were now looking better. When he told this to Emla, she started crying tears of happiness. Takuto became nervous seeing her break down like this, but Emla quickly got control of herself and continued the tour. She took Takuto and Atu to the flesh tree farms and said because of the tools Takuto made, they hoped to get the first crop soon. Then she took them to the water source the elves found, but when they arrived, she felt the place's atmosphere was different this time. The water had also become black, and Emily became disappointed because she thought now the water could not be used. Atu was about to explain the reason when Moltar and Gia also arrived to see the water source. They agreed with Emily that the water did not look usable now, but Atu took a sip and said the water was completely safe. Atu explained that the place looked dark now because of a feature called cursed terrain, and because of this, the area had become part of Minogra. Takuto told the elves to take a deep breath, and they felt their minds became clear and their bodies got energy. Atu explained that cursed terrain helped evil alignment creatures and affected neutral or good alignment ones. Since the Dark Elves were now part of Minogra, they were now evil, so this water was completely safe for them. Gia drank the water and confirmed it. Then Atu said soon, the whole forest would become part of cursed terrain. Takuto thought this could be a problem because cursed terrain was very easy to see. Moltar also said when the whole forest turned black like this, enemies could find them easily. Gia again talked about making an army, but Atu and Takuto told her they were going to summon a hero. Moltar said he still did not understand what a hero was, so Atu showed black tentacles from her back and easily cut nearby trees, and said she herself was a hero, and with just 1% 10% of her full power, she could beat a whole army. Takuto told the elves that heroes became stronger over time, even if they did nothing. Then he told Atu that she did not need to cut trees to show her power, and later told her to clean up the mess. The elves saw all this and thought Takuto was a big bean because he had such strong followers. But for now, a normal palace was fine. They said they would build a great palace for Takuto, but Takuto said he did not need it yet. The elves did not agree and said they could not let their king live in houses like theirs. Atu also said building a palace would make people happier, so they should let them do it.